Okay, welcome to the Forbidden History Chronicles. You're here with NinjaCat 111 and Dezert-Owl from the Forbidden History series. Please forgive me for the delay, uh, technical glitch. I upgraded and all the settings changed, so we're good to go now. I'll just have a look at the chat. G'day Jackie, it's good to see you here. And yo, 10, thank you, thank you. And Raymond, and is it Jarby Linda? Welcome. Yeah, okay, g'day everyone, good to see you here, thank you for hanging in there. I guess you're getting used to my technical glitches at the start. Okay, we'll get into it. Okay, the signs of the times. In essence, Desert discusses the history of the world and how the unseen hand has been running it from the very beginning of time. Who they are and how they have founded all of the first great civilizations that are found all around the world. About who the giants really were and the ancient Aryan caste and slave systems, the priesthoods, the anti-gravity V-manners, the Earth-based misnomered UFOs which are man-made, the control of all forms of communications, commerce, religion, mass media, pseudo-politics, etc. It is the grand deception that is used to control all of mankind, and all instituted through the three main religions of the world in particular, used as their grand cover. Their cybercode has been revealed to him because he has become adept within the study of the ancient alphabets, communications, symbolism, religion, custom, law, cosmology, and mythology, not to mention the fallacy of today's political science and pseudoscience in particular. He can also define the true nature of their warfare, their shell game of bringing one civilization up for their temporary use and then taking it down for the next 500-year generational cycle, as symbolized by the classical phoenix. Desert discusses the ultimate in mind control and ancient art, and the financial control, the secret societies and their blood occult rituals, and how they wage all wars throughout all time, through the nations that they have created, which are all imaginations, plantations, and mere corporations. They have taken blood oaths to surrender their self-will and mind to their blind goddess who has demanded our blood from the very beginning of time. They communicate to their minions through the movies, TV, and print media, while he can see, read, and interpret most all of it. It all says that they are using us for our ingenuity, for our collective constructive labour, for experimentation, and in the end, they intend to kill us all. They have given us full notice of what they are doing, and what they fully intend to do, while all of the general population, the sheeple, they merely go there to be entertained. The New World Order is the Old World Order from the beginning of time. There is a major cosmic natural disaster that is about to happen on Earth, and they know it, but they are cleverly leaving us in the dark. Hence the reason that they have built hundreds of underground bases all around the world, while they are leaving all of the people to remain unprepared, uninformed, and above ground, so that when it comes, the mere 5% who will survive above ground will die from the weaknesses and disease that has been generated from all of the poisons that they have been feeding us, from the chemtrails to fluoride in the water to tainted vaccines to fake food, etc., etc. They have enslaved us all by the clever means of deception, because we most all are their cattle, chattel, property, and because they merely wanted to harness our labour, what they always needed, which is what backs most of the world's currency through the birth certificate, but they are all through with us now. It is written in stone, as it can be seen written in the Georgia Guidestones. To know the truth is to be empowered and to be prepared. We may not be able to stop what has been done and what is about to happen, but the innocent and decent people on planet Earth deserve to know. And that was written by Dezert-Owl, who is here with us. Thanks, Desert. Good to know the audio is working. I haven't turned your microphone on yet. Okay, I'm getting there. Okay, welcome Desert, and can we please get a sound check for Desert's microphone? Okay, you got no noise. No noise. Hang on a minute. I can, yeah, I can fix. I can fix. It's just, yeah, yeah, yeah. I just got to reset the settings. That's all. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I haven't had time. I could have done it earlier, I guess. I haven't had time to focus. Um, Sorry, guys. I'm just waiting for the settings page to open up. I'll just do a little song and a dance or something. Uh, okay. Yeah, doing it. Yeah, doing a test is good. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm just talking to Desert, whose sound isn't working. Okay, Desert. Please, can you please speak?
I can speak.
Okay,
Is it coming through?
good.
All right. All right. So it's the planet
Okay.
that's the problem, obviously, and that's what
Yeah.
we're going to
Yeah.
talk about here.
And I
So
just, sorry.
no.
I just want to thank you and Yo for this beautiful creation that you're about to see on the screen. Um, I love it. It's amazing, and thank you for sharing it so that I can put it on the program.
Oh well, obviously, well we need to all doing the presentation for Yeshua, and for the original thought, and that he breathed into Hadam. This is the what we're presenting on this broadcast is what was breathed into Hadam, Adam, and this is what we have been denied. Obviously they've worked overtime to deny us the capital letters. They literally switched out the capital Aramaic letters in the East and gave them what's called demotic, in particular called El Strangulo. So you can they strangled them. They're joking with the words, and so the alphabet is a modern version, of course, of what was a primitive, slightly different, but very similar to the original alphabet. But then they wanted us to be stuck in the little squiggles of Greek, which is they did a switch out in the Greek as well. They switched out the Greek from the capital letters, like you see in ASHAVOR, to what when we go to our Strong's Concordance, we see this little squiggly little letters that you would never have to want to learn how to write. Literally
Yeah,
would not
yeah,
want to have to learn how to write. Same with Hebrew. You can't even
yeah,
tell one letter from another
yeah.
one,
If you
and then
write,
they
sorry,
got everyone stuck in the Hebrew and the Greek, when what we want to do is go back to that which is first, original, and superior. You were trying to say, Ninja?
I was just thinking, you were talking about the squiggly letters. If you weren't very good at writing and you wrote it wrong, you could communicate a completely opposite meaning to what. Do you know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah,
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
obviously, that's why the translations out of the what are being claimed to be Aramaic are difficult today, because just one little dot, or even a fly making a mark on the page, a fly flying down making a little mark, literally can change the meaning of a word, because they use vowel points,
yeah,
and so the whole system has been taken over by priesthoods, so that we could not ever follow the trail back home, because if we could follow the trail back home, we could be set free, and we would also know who the real enemy is, because all these false narratives of Satan and devils and demons and Lucifer are all false narratives created by men, because the one entity they don't want you to look at is them. You see, because it's
yeah,
always man
yeah,
who is making a problem in your life somewhere down the road,
yeah,
whether it's in a university, or in a medical issue, or in a legal issue, or in property rights, or in gun issues, or in healthcare, natural medicine. You know, um, there is somebody with they put on the pants and the shirt just like you, and they think they're going to have a little communist party on you. The little socialist, gremlins that have bought into a lie. But the money is good, the power trip is good, the gun on the hip is good. And so they feel superior to everyone else, and so there is no natural anything in our world. The natural lot was gone a long time ago. Everything we have is unnatural, incomplete, misleading, a lie, and a cover for something of a grander perverted nature, when our world is being run by psychopaths and perverts, basically in the secret societies, a secret. Well, how can you have freedom when you have secret societies? You can't have freedom. They're the ones that are running the world. They're the ones who created, this cult, at enough of that. Jabby, good to have you on the broadcast, and Boost, good to have you as well, and everyone else here today, and by the way, we do take questions, and I think Jabby actually had a couple questions that she wanted me to answer, and she had sent me a text, and I can go refer to that. Well, I think it was on a voicemail. But anybody that wants to have me answer a question, put my name in all capital letters, Desert, all capital letters, then upper and lowercase with the body of the comment or question, and then I won't miss it, okay? Because you got to put my name in capital letters, or I'll go right past. I miss people all the time that way, and I feel bad about that, because I don't mean to miss anybody's question. We welcome the interaction. I'm here to serve and to try to shed light on what nobody else is talking about, and so in the beginning, okay, I'm going to start at the end of the page, the last page, but this is a good way to start it. At the beginning is the ASHAVOR, and so notice I don't say in the beginning, because that's what all of our scriptures say. It's in the beginning, but in is corruption, because you can see it's in the word indecent, inoculate, inept. So all the in words very much have a negative connotation to them, but
Does
yet
it?
it's at the beginning. I'm sorry, Ninja.
I thought of a word, inwards. When we say we
Or,
need to turn inwards,
yeah, yeah.
that's implying
Well,
a good
well,
thing, but
Well, no,
probably
it's I'm
corrupt.
saying that the I is a
Yeah,
corruption.
yeah,
Okay, the I is a corruption, and therefore it's not a correct term. Okay,
yeah.
so it sounds better than the other ones, but still the I is a corruption. So let me um, try to get this out here. At the beginning, so at appropriately is better, because at is the alphabet, okay? And so when I get done with going from top to bottom, I'll take it one step at a time. I'm going to show you how the AT is relevant, and how when you see a shavor with a T at the end of it, the A at the beginning, the T at the end, and what's in the middle will be the proof. As they say, the proof of the pudding is in the eating of it. And Anna, good to have you, Anna, last name. And I think, Anna, you're in Scandinavia, aren't you? I'm trying to remember. Wasn't it Finland you're in? Anyway, it's been a while, but we're continuing the saga of the persecuted truth tellers here that have always seem to have things happen. Yep. Okay, Scandinavia, and yeah, we've got about every year somebody takes us down, and we've got to regroup. And so NinjaCat was very accommodating here to help us have a broadcast. She's doing a great work, and she's been persecuted by some other faction for the last year in a big way. We've been targeted, so but we're keep on ticking, okay, because that's what we do. And you have to wonder, you actually know who the enemy is when you're being persecuted by somebody, and shame on them, because they who the enemy is, of course, when you're being persecuted. They're out of in the sunshine, and it feels good. I give thanks for persecution, because it actually means I'm doing my job. They don't go after people that are lost. They go after people who are exposing things. And that's what we do here. If you've been following our broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, we don't leave any stone unturned, and we define things. That's my life has been dedicated to truth seeking and to translating. Ninja, don't. Okay, okay, yeah. So anyway, let's get back to the graphic, Ninja, okay? And we'll okay, very good. Okay, so ASHAVOR, ladies and gentlemen, is ASHAVOR means word within the original thought. Word within the original thought. And okay, Ninja, can you go to a musical break?
Yeah.
Okay,
Are
let's
you
go to a
okay?
musical break. Yeah, I need to go into a musical break. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Do you want a very long one?
No, just a short one.
Okay. Okay, guys, we'll be back very shortly. Please hang around. Um, okay, we'll see you in a minute. Okay, welcome back. You're listening to the Forbidden History Chronicles with NinjaCat 111 and Desert-Owl from the Forbidden History series YouTube channel and also Forbidden History Archives. Just looking for that beautiful book to put back up. That's not
Okay.
it. That's not it.
Am, am I on, Ninja?
Yeah, yeah, your
Okay,
sound is
good.
working.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for the break, ladies and gentlemen, but we're back, and now we're going to do a presentation. And what I saw during that beautiful music by Tanya, I actually don't know the correct way to say the name of the musical friend we have, but go to the description box and you'll see where we get that music from. And when I was looking at the graphic when I got back behind the desk, I saw the graphic of the tulips, you see, and those come out of Holland, right? The tulips are famous for coming out of Holland.
Yeah.
And so what do you have in tulips? But you got what it is. It's the two lips. That's all there are. Of all the flowers on the planet, this particular flower only has two lips or two petals, and they call it the two lips, you see? But
Wow.
we never get that picture when we say it all of our lives, right, Ninja? We don't get that picture. And
No, we
so
don't.
the same with pine trees. Pine trees are pin trees, and fir trees are fire trees. You see, and so
Wow.
what we're revealing is the original thought within all the diction all around us. We're surrounded by the Indo-Germanic mother tongue, and this is what we're conveying. What nobody else is conveying here, ladies and gentlemen. That's relevant to our inherited, received uh, origin, original truth. Okay, so if that which is first is superior, and Confucius, he made a profound statement. I'll have to paraphrase it, but he says if the words are not correct, then what is being said is not what is meant, and if what is being said is not what is meant, then all truth, all history, all science, all government, all of everything will go by the wayside, and then people will be standing around in a helpless idleness, not knowing what to do. Sounds like communism, socialism, doesn't it? And then finally, in the end, their ultimate demise and destruction. So words matter absolutely, absolutely above everything else. But of course, Confucius also told us that signs and symbols rule the world. See, so Confucius obviously was a pretty smart cookie. I read half of the works of Confucius. He just spoke in natural parables, just like Yeshua. Just like Yeshua. When you study the lives of Socrates and of Confucius and Buddha, okay, all these people get a bad rap. They get a bad rap for, being not of, the narrow-minded Christian culture that has been taken over by Freemasonry and Jesuits, and so they're told, don't read anything, don't, other than your King James version, and be stuck in La La Land, because you're under mind control. Obviously, you can't. When were you not allowed to pick up a book and read and see things for yourself? To become expert and proficient at ancient mythology from around the world, or ancient history from around the world, or ancient cultures from around the world. If we close our eyes and don't look at these things and don't study them, then our view will indeed be very narrow. And so we have to open the floodgate of learning and realize that all knowledge is relevant, whether it's good or bad. We have to know if we're not able to see and read things for ourselves, then we're relying on somebody else to give us the narrative. So we have to see and read things for ourselves. So with the and thank you to Shelley for and being inspired yesterday to produce this simple graphic. But this simple graphic actually is very powerful, because you hear us all the time come on here and talking about the ASHAVORs, and it would naturally sound foreign, and therefore unable to be related to or resonate within your mind until maybe you see it more graphically presented. And so I'm going to try to give you a graphic illustration here following what we perfected yesterday, Shelley and I working together, and I said, okay, well, you're doing this, let's go ahead and put the polish to it. And so we polished it, and we came out with this presentation. Okay, so ASHAVOR is the original. Okay, it means word, but it means a whole lot more than that. Okay, because word, I'm going to show you what word is. Okay, word, and I'm writing in the chat, WORD is actually, you can see the element there is war. But if you put an S in front of it, then you get more elements of war, SWORD, sword. Okay, and so and therefore a flaming, FLAMING, sword, SWORD, of fire. Okay, so there's your word. You see war, and because the D is a corruption, D means death, and the W is a false letter. It was a V originally. That's why you're gonna see it in vor. So okay, and so what is the sword? It is a flaming sword, and that's why in the Greek it's a logo. You see, it's called. They put the S on it, but they use the S's to corrupt. The S is the serpent. Prime serpent is the sun, and the logo, the great symbol we see every day, is the sun. So that's a flaming sword. So the sun, the logo, the symbol of light, the symbol of creation, is a flaming sword. Okay, and it is, and so it is a word, but it is many words. And we're going to show when you put it back to the original how it opens up like a flower, not with two lips, but with many lips. Okay, and so when you put the S on word, then you see, whoa, it's a sword. There's your logo. It's a sword, but it's a flaming sword. And what did it say when Adam and Eve fell? Kaiva and Hadam fell. It says that then there was a flaming sword at the entrance of the garden that pointed in every direction. Well, what points in every direction? Not a real sword, not a literal sword, but the flaming sword of the sun points in every direction. It's actually pointing the way back. We got the idea that it was like somehow to keep them from going back into the garden of light, but it's not. It was pointing the way back to the garden of light, and that's the great logo, the great symbol. Nobody ever identifies the word logo as what it is, a symbol, and then they never identify what the symbol is, and it's the sun. Everything came out of the light, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so and this is what nobody is talking about. I mean, I have not heard anybody do anything other than demonize the sun. Okay, I've never heard anyone make the connections, but yet it does come out of the Eastern tradition, and it is in our scriptures. It was not all filtered out. You can see it in chapter 19, verse 17 of Revelations, and also in chapter 19, I think, verse 3 in the book of Psalms. Okay, and so we have to realize that if the Father is light, and in Him is no darkness at all, then what is the light? Okay, what is the symbol for the light? It is the sun, of course. It is the mother star, ladies and gentlemen. So, okay, so ASHAVOR, and you've seen the word Asia all your life, right? You've seen it on the map. They call the big continent in the east Asia, then they call the Middle East Asia Minor, but really means the light of Asia, and the light of Asia, the Minor, is Jerusalem. Okay. And thank you, Shannon. Glad that we should love the sun, shouldn't we? Since it's if we didn't have it, we'd be in real trouble. And okay, so ASHAVOR means word in the original thought, or word. We could reverse that. Word is Asia in the original thought. It's really should be reversed, but this is the way we built it. Okay, so the original thought, original. That which is first is superior. So word, now if we look at the code, if you know the code, and I share the code with you all the time, in this broadcast, thanks to Ninja's help. Okay, and we do a broadcast. We've been taken off for a few weeks on the other Forbidden History archive, formerly Forbidden History Live, but we'll be back there most likely this coming Sunday. And so if you notice that the word I say is the vor. You drop the D because that's the dead letter for death, destruction, doom, danger, all the bad words, and the dogs of the priesthood, okay, that do their master's bidding, the God, that's the Pope. Okay, so word, the W is a V, drop the D, and what do you got left? Vor, and there's your abbreviated word, as they did all the abbreviations outside the Vatican at a place called the College of Abbreviators. The College of Abbreviators, okay, and it's run by the Jesuit cure in your the Jesuit Curii, and they put the cure in your eye. I was going to say that first. They put the cure in your eye, ladies and gentlemen, and so we got. That's why when we graduate, land grad is garbage. Graduate, more garbage than you ever counted on. graduate from high school and then you put the Masonic mortarboard on your head, there's more mud in your eye, right? The Masonic mortarboard, you know what a mortarboard is? You put mortar on it and you lay bricks. So they really did a good job in putting the mud in their eye, and that's why they named our Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John Gospel. Go spell, stupid, because you can't spell. You'll never figure out the code. What we've done to you under mind control, world domination, okay? But the cat's out of the bag, ladies and gentlemen, and for as little time we have left, and we're here, while the enemy from Tucson on are all trying to take us down, we're going to spell it the way it really is and say it the way it really is, okay? So word, you can see no W, it's a V, and you get vor, and there's your vortex. And what is a vortex? It's at the center. It's at the center, okay? And then interesting, because the word center, and I'll spell it here, C-E-N-T-E-R is T-Z-E-N-N-T-O-R, okay? Zentor. Zentor, there's the more correct spelling. Actually, it'd be Z-A-N-N, Zan. Zen is a corruption as well. It's Zan. And the A, because A is the symbol of infinity, as you see, it goes from a point, goes out. And what did we say? Signs and symbols rule the world. Well, we're talking about the fundamental symbols within our communication devices, okay? Within our communication devices. And so what does Zentor mean? Zentor means the hang on, I-N-F-I-N-A-T-E power, P-O-W-E-R, okay? The infinite power. So that's what the center is. The center, whoa, well, who's at the center? Oh, I think it's Yeshua, right? The prime point of light, the one who made all things, at the Zentor, the infinite power. So when we go back to the center, we're going back to the source. We're going back to where it all began, you see? And so it comes out, that's the center. And so words, what's in a word, ladies and gentlemen? Words are at the center of everything. If you can't communicate, if you can't, know who you are and where you are, when you are, and why you are, and use a few of those ASHAVORs, then you can't make anything. You can't have family. You can't have a job. You can't trade in commerce. You can't do anything. You're dead. You're like amoeba. But somebody figured out if they can control our words, our ASHAVORs, then they're going to get the upper hand on us, right? They're taking over. You're down. You're a slave. In fact, in the beginning, like we saw in the movie Stargate that came out around 1995, I believe it was Stargate. It was actually the last movie I saw with my daughter. I remember that symbolically. But Stargate, in that movie, then they portrayed the people around pyramid structures that looked like they were in Mezar, falsely called Egypt. And when the scientist, the word etymologist, the linguist, was writing symbols in the sand, they wiped it away and said, no, we can't, no writing. We're not allowed to write. No, and so you see, but then they finally figured out, well, we could have good slaves if we could get some of them to read a little bit. And so when they decided they were going to teach us the ability to read, then they were going to give us words that were abbreviated or symbols that were altered or changed, because they knew that we could be set free with pure information, the knowledge of light, because the alphabet is the story of light. These are the symbols of light, and let there be light. In the correct terminology, let there be Zorain, okay? So page 2 on here, then we have Dezert-Owl explains the meaning of the ASHAVOR, okay? So ASHAVOR, as I define it down below, in 3 items, we have Asha, which means the royal eye, and the A is the eye, but it would be correctly spelled if we're using it specifically for the eye, E-Y-E, then it is the A-Y. There's the original. You don't have eyes, you have A's. You have to see with your A's, okay? Your A is what is guiding you. The A is the first letter of the alphabet. The A is the infinite point projecting out into infinity, from infinity to infinity, okay? And so this is the great mystery, ladies and gentlemen, of what we've been denied, what we never learned in school, that we have to hear some things we've never heard before and get the picture. So ASHAVOR literally means, as I have it here, written, the royal eye center, but we could say the center of the royal eye. You could say it either way, but literally it says the royal eye center, okay? Center is the latter part, Devor. So there's the Asha, the royal eye, and then the Vor is the center. So ASHAVOR is the royal eye center, so it's literal, okay? It's literal, and you can see it, okay? But of course, you don't have your Indo-Germanic dictionary. You don't have, the etymological dictionaries like I do that allows you to research these things. And even these dictionaries are not all saying it straight, okay? They are not telling it straight because they are often published in universities. So they control it with the Jesuits in the universities and the Masons, the mother sons of darkness, and they've got to keep us in darkness. Okay, so I've decided to end it with a quote from the scriptures, and it is, "At the beginning is the ASHAVOR." Okay, not in the beginning, because as I was talking about it earlier, in the beginning is a corruption like indecent, inoculate, indifferent, injury. Look at the in words, and you'll see. So in is a negative aspect. We will use it, and we do use it because it's hard to get away from it. But the correct form would be at the beginning. Why? Because the AT is the symbol of the alphabet, the beginning and the ending. So at the beginning, okay? And that's why in the Jewish legal system, they like to call themselves at law. They don't say in law, they say at law. So, okay, put that under your cap and think about that, all right? So at the beginning is the ASHAVOR. So now look at the A and the T. What happened? They went one letter. A is at the beginning, and there's the silent T, because remember the T is silent, like in Sun Tzu, and other words. Zen or Zan would have a T in front of it, the way I did it up in the chat a little bit ago. And so ASHAVOR, but the A at the beginning of the alphabet is actually not a vowel, but a consonant. You notice they put the word con in front of the sonants. It's a sonant, but it's a consonant, and the way they gave it to us today, meaning it's not a vowel, and therefore in the creation story, it said that the A gave power to the V. They changed it into the B, of course, the V to the B, but the A giving power to the V for creation, meaning Elohim, the woman, the mother, she's the one creating. The father is the architect. He's the A. He's standing back in resting as the spirit, while the physical creation is unfolding. Okay, so you can therefore turn off the A and use it as a vowel or as a consonant, and you get the different. Same with the T. You can pronounce it or you can turn it off, and you'll get different meanings. And so as in word, we got vort, the vortex, the vortex. Okay, and X is also corruption. The word vortex is not fully correct either. And I see you got some questions there, so I'll get to those right after this particular. I'm almost done with this presentation, Jabby. Then I'll be glad to address your questions. Okay, and want to welcome you to the broadcast. I appreciate people stopping by and trying to figure something out, because that's what we all have to do. And so what's in the middle between the A and the T? We got shavor. Okay. So now we got a real power word going on here, because I'm going to reveal to you what's hiding in the word ASHAVOR. And we turn off the A, as I said, because they represent the, and by the way, we get the AT. I'm going to show this, ATOM. There's your AT, and with the OM sound, and so you have a home, and a home is the place of sound, you see? And so the at OM, what do you get with the alphabet? You get sound. That's what we're talking about here, right? The place of sound. Let me type that. Okay, there you go. So what do we get when we now look at the center? We said the center is the power, right? The center is the power, and actually the power of what? The infinite power. The center is the infinite power. The Zentor. So even the C, you can see the C is a corruption, because it's got an S sound. The letter C doesn't even exist in the original alphabet. Okay, it would be a K. It replaced the G also. The ABC is really the AVG, and these are the tricks they played on us. So you can take notes and write this stuff down and take it to the bank, okay? because I got a lifetime of study to prove this stuff out, and 40,000 3x5 cards with notes on it can't begin to produce enough of the data that I have has unfolded for me. So if we look at the word ASHAVOR, now we can find out what's at the beginning, because in the beginning it says is the ASHAVOR, which we identify with our King James as the word. In the beginning is the word, but in the Greek it says in the beginning is the logo. But in the beginning is the ASHAVOR, and if we shut off the A now as a symbol, we get the SHAVOR. So we have the SHAVOR and the SHAVOR. I'm going to type it in the chat. Is the Savior, the shower. Oh, geez, I can't even spell shower. SHOWER. Okay, and the sower. Okay, just look at that. Okay, Shavor is Savior. So in the beginning is the Savior. So the words are saviors. In the beginning is the shower. So there's the rain that brings forth life. In the beginning is the sower, and also the sword. You see, so the sword, there's your flaming sword. It's not pronounced that way. It's actually, the sword is pronounced the ASHAVOR. So the ASHAVOR is the word. Okay, ASHAVOR is the word. It is the Savior. It is the shower. It is the sower. Because why? Why? Because if you're sowing, then you're reaping for a harvest of food so that you can feed your family. And so the sower is the Savior. And therefore, what if it had done rain? You're dead. So the rain is a savior. The shower is a savior. And then of course the sword is your savior if you're in trouble, right? You'd hope a couple guys with a couple swords come along to defend you against somebody trying to annihilate your life, So look, ladies and gentlemen, at the center, the infinite power is what it means. You get the savior, the shower, the sower, the ASHAVOR, the sword, the flaming sword. And so when the ancients were reading in a book, they didn't call them words. They called them, let me type it in there. I hear and I forget, I see and I remember. That's Confucius. Flaming swords. Oh yeah, of fire. There you go. So what's on the page? The flaming sword. So when somebody had a book when nobody else could read, they say, oh, could you read me some of the flaming swords of fire? Read me some of those flaming swords. So you see, so when it was a flaming sword that was coming out of the, it said that the garden was protected by a flaming sword of fire. Well, it wasn't talking about keeping them out of the light. It was talking about protecting the knowledge of the way back home, pointing back to the light. As it goes out, it goes in. You follow the rail, right? Rail, if you follow the straight line, right, it's RAIL. But if you go backwards and you walk crookedly, then it is LIAR. You see the anagram. Rail is liar, okay, backwards. And so you walk the straight line. In the movie Superman, they got the guy representing the Jesuit walking the rail. And he says, I got to walk the straight line, because if he falls off, then, he'll be found out he's really a liar, the Jesuit. So all of these things, ladies and gentlemen, are wrapped up in the ASHAVOR, okay? At the beginning is the what? ASHAVOR. At the beginning is the Savior. At the beginning is the shower of what? Light. The first shower is the rain of light, the atom that comes down. At the beginning is the sower, the seeds of light. At the beginning is the flaming sword. What came first? Let there be light. Let there be Zorain. Then out of the sun comes all the creation that goes around it, okay? Except with the exception of the gaseous orbs. I think they came in from out there, okay? But all the planets and the moons came out of the sun. They're children of the sun. That's why they go around the sun, and that's why they need the sun, because they came from the sun. They're nursing on the breast of their mother. Okay, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your presentation on ASHAVOR, and so now you don't have to be, just hearing it, but now you can see it. We even got a presentation. I know Ninja will be putting it up on our on the cosmic essence real soon here, because we want this to get out to the people. And Anna, you're saying in Finnish, savior is pelastaja, and ya would be ya, pelastaja. Sword is meleka, miaka, something like that. Shower is sun suhiku. Okay, well, I got to learn Finnish to do this. And sower is kaija. So this is not as clear in our. Yeah, well, you see the thing is that the English was used for the one world uh, order, right? They wanted a one world language, and thank you for that, Anna. And they wanted, therefore, they're using the Aramaic. Later on, we're going to show you a picture of the Chimera, and we'll show the Chimera backwards as Aramaic. So they used it most primitive for the one world order. They just did reversals and they did switch outs, and they changed the letters and and abbreviated the words, and therefore we no longer get the picture that laundry is laundry, or tulips are tulips, or on and on and on. We can the flame, the pin trees, pine trees are pin trees, and fir trees are fire trees, because they got the turpentine. It's the soft wood. You got to make a fire real quick when you're freezing to death. Go get the fir tree, because that's the fire tree for starting a fire. Okay, so it's all in there. It's a softwood. I used to go camping. I know that. Okay, so Ninja, do you have any follow up now that I got it out?
Um, I muted to make sure that you would.
Oh, thank you. Okay, that was
It's the
that
only
was a big
way.
bite. That was a big bite of eternity we just took right there. This is a presentation we just did that is unparalleled, and it is the most important as a foundational tool to get the picture of what this Indo-Germanic mother tongue is all about. The original Aramaic, and because we talk about it every day, but we needed the graphic, so thank you again to Shelley. She got the graphic. We got it right to you, just so you can get it on the board every day. So when we talk about my list of cards that are in front of me here to go yet, we'll be able to get the new people coming in to
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
picture with this graphic. This is an
It's
important graphic.
beautiful. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. I love it.
yeah,
Um, it's yeah. I was gonna say perfect. Yeah, but
it is perfect. Thank
yeah,
you.
it is perfect. But I'd rather
Yeah.
say a different word
Okay.
than perfect. I know I've asked you this before. I know we've done part of a presentation on perfect.
Uh-huh.
I
And
remember
wait a minute.
asking.
I just want to mention that right after this, after we're done talking to Ninja Jabby, you're up next for your questions. Okay. So stand by, please. Thank you. Go ahead, Ninja.
Oh, I remember asking, is perfect Yoltsar, and I can't remember what your
Well,
answer
yachts are
was.
right. Okay, that's in the when the creation occurred, and it always said at the end of each day it said, and it was good, right? Well, that sounds like milk toast. Like, well, it's pretty good. I mean, can you do better? I don't know. Maybe you can. Like give me a break. It wasn't. It was look at this creation. Look at it. It wasn't good. It was perfect. What he made. Look at our infinite resource. Even though it is a finite planet, it's still the resource just seems to keep on going, but yet it didn't say that when you look in the Hebrew, because that's all we're really being given. We've got to go back and study Aramaic as well, and this Indo-Germanic I'm talking about to get the other potentials. But in the Hebrew, it's got it right. Actually, it's Yaltsar. It says it didn't say good. When you go look it back in the Strongs, you say, oh, it's Yaltsar, and Yaltsar. What's that mean? It means Yal Zar. Zar is star, and Yal
Yeah,
is that which goes round. So it's saying that it is the product of a star. It's telling us
yeah.
it's the product. They don't want us to know we came from the sun, our creation.
Y'all is Yahweh.
Well, the Yal is the
Yeah,
dial. The dial is that which goes round. We know that. We use it all of our life. In English, in English, you had the dial. We know what a dial is. The Yal that goes round. The Yal Zar. Okay, and
that's beautiful.
yeah.
I saw something. Oh, first I have a question, and then I'll tell you what I saw, and then we can
All right.
move on.
Mhm.
Um, you were talking about that the AT, um,
Yeah.
and I was looking at the A at the start of ASHAVOR, and I was looking at the T at the end of it. And um, my question is, I don't know if this makes sense. Why does the T appear in front of words? I don't know if you've already answered this. Why
Uh,
does the T appear in front of words like, for example, star and
or czar.
Zore,
Yeah.
um,
And zoo.
and why does it appear at the end of words like
Right. Well,
Ashavor? Why?
okay.
Like I know you said you can use it for a silent T or you can say the T, but yeah, I just
Right.
want to
Right. Well,
fully comprehend.
okay. Okay. So isn't it interesting that the two letters that represent the alphabet, the AT, in their prime function, they are silent, right? They are silent letters. The beginning of the alphabet, the first letter gave power to the V. That's why. So the A is a symbol, and then we have at the end the T, which is also silent, but we do see sound. But the symbolism of their being silent means that it came from eternity and it goes to eternity, right? And
Okay.
so you can imagine that in outer space there's no sound, right?
Okay. Yep. Yep.
It's
Yep. I was
eternal.
waiting for you to
It's
say that
eternal
next.
silence.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yet there is a creation beyond this universe, and we can't even begin to define it because we're foreign to that.
Yes.
This is our universe. This is totally finite that we can define all things in this universe, but beyond it. So the symbols of the silence is the great mystery,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
also shows the greatness of the one who makes all things because he's in no hurry to do anything. He always was. He always will be. What's the hurry? And that's why this nonsense about the earth being made in 6 24-hour periods is a priesthood sham, because we have all the evidence. You have to close your eyes real hard not to see the archaic nature and the ancient nature of this earth. Just look, and it's amazing. So Yaltsar, yeah, that which it's the product of a star. And so why didn't they just put that word there, or transliterate it correctly, the product of a star? Well, because they are controlling our narrative. They're controlling our narrative. Mhm.
Wow, thank you for that. Thank you for that explanation of the T. It just
Well, I didn't. Okay, I didn't
that's
go
it.
far enough. Wait a minute. I,
That
I realized that. Okay, so at the beginning of a word, okay. In other words, I'm going to type in the chat the word moon. Okay,
oh,
and you
okay.
know how we got the word month,
Okay.
Month. But let's look at this, Moonnt. Okay, so there's month, but there's moon. You see, so there's the symbol at the end. So anything that is the moon is not light. The moon is a reflection. And then we also see there in this term, Mount. Okay, so there's the word mount, looks like moon, right? Moon, with the T on it, because we know that in the word month, it's talking about moon, because it's going back to the lunar cycle versus the solar cycle, which starts in March. The lunar cycle started in March, and that's what they went on to March. And because the solar cycle, we know, is at the end of the year when the sun goes down at its farthest reach, and then it begins to the days get longer again. So that's the solar calendar when we start the new year. But in March is when the lunar calendar starts, when they went on the March. So if we see the T at the beginning of a word, so at the end of a word, um, it's implying that whatever it's attached to is in darkness. But then at the beginning, um, it's like T Z O O. There's Sun Tzu, right? Zoo, but they don't spell it that way. They use the corrupt letter U because they don't want us to get the picture. What does zoo mean? It means everything, right? And so at the beginning, it's talking about power. It's next to the Z. It's a power symbol. It's light. So it can mean the moon is also a lesser light. So it's on the other spectrum, right? Because the moon is opposite the sun. One's in the light, one's in the darkness. You see, and okay, so and Jabby's saying I don't see any of your writings, only the static graphic of the text ASHAVOR. Not seeing any writing from you. Okay, is that you mean on the screen itself or in the chat, Jabby? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Okay, and please clarify. So anyway, Ninja, follow up, and then we'll try to answer Jabby's
Okay,
questions.
I'm just thinking maybe hit refresh because we had some issues at the start. Yeah, maybe maybe if she hits refresh, it'll fix it. I've got it on my phone and it's fine, and I've got it on the PC and it's fine. And I apologise for the glitch. I thought I fixed it, but it's still there. Um, okay, yeah, I just wanted to thank you for explaining the T with the sound thing, because that just makes sense with no sound being uh, in outer space, out there in the universe, and there being sound here, um, in like on planet Earth, where we speak sound. So there's the duality there as well. So thank you.
You
I get
bet.
it.
You
I
bet.
get it. Thank you. Um,
Okay, Ninja. I got to turn on
and
my air conditioner real quick. Can you just give out some information real quick about our schedule, what time? And I'll be right back. Give me 30 seconds.
okay.
Thank you.
Um, okay. This live stream, the Forbidden History Chronicles, is on every Monday and Friday. Normally 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, US, but sometimes 11:30.
I'm
um,
back.
yeah, which Desert also, and the OBS is reconnected. So a picture, it will help you understand it a little bit better. Uh, Also, there's Forbidden History Archives, which Desert has been broadcasting from. Desert, are you guys still planning on doing more live streams from there?
On the Forbidden History Archive?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're looking at probably just Sunday nights because we
Okay.
got to get the translation project going. You know.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Because I missed that. Yeah. um, yeah. So please, all links are in the description. Please subscribe and check the bells, so you don't miss out on anything. Um, and we'll talk about Cosmic later. Cosmic Essence has also been in the chat. That's Yeah, I'm beside myself like Desert. That's me. I'm Cosmic. The link is also in the description, so please subscribe. It's a channel, a reference channel, so that you don't have to go back through 3 channels uh, worth of live streams. We're getting quite a collection. Um, yeah, so we clip everything and we put it on Cosmic, so you can search by topic and find uh, what you're looking for a lot easier over there. So please subscribe to Cosmic. Um, and welcome back, Desert. Do you mind if I ask one more question?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Oh, just quickly, I saw. I know it's the same thing, but I saw vor in sword, which is the same as seeing it in word. Yeah.
Right, because it's a sword. When you see a sword swinging, it's at the vortex, right? It
Yeah.
creates its own vortex with the arm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wasn't
yeah.
thinking that. Yeah.
You don't want to get in that vortex.
No.
And thank you, Raleigh, for your compliment. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to say good day to everybody. Yeah.
Wow,
It's good.
Raleigh says this is his main channel. That's my main channel. I know that.
Yeah. Riles has got 2 channels. He's Arlie and Raleigh, and I call him Riles. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
He's pretty cool.
yeah.
Um.
Oh,
I
he's a
was
Rhodes Scholar. He's a biker scholar, so he's a Rhodes Scholar like me. I went all over the roads way back when. Go ahead.
okay.
A little trivia here.
Yeah.
Go ahead. All right.
Okay. So I was looking at ASHAVOR. Well, can't help but look at it. It's right. It's right there in that beautiful creation desert on the screen.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I was looking at it, and I was looking at the last half of it with the T on there, the AVOR T. And for some reason, I think I might be seeing the corrupt version of that part of the word. Tell me if this is wrong, but I see abort, ABORT, as in
In
the
ASHAVOR.
yeah, as in the opposite, like the corrupted
Well,
version
the
of
B,
it.
the B, be, supplemented the V, so you
Yeah.
could see the word abort um, in the word avort, avort. So it implies, okay, let's get back to the center, okay, because we moved out of the center. Let's avort. Let's get back to the center, right? If it's a vortex, you see. So
Okay.
it's a little variable on what we think of when we say it, but it has the same basic meaning.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
get back to the center. It's
Yeah. I just
implying we're
thought with
not
the
in the
B in
center.
there might.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But thank you.
Right. Right. But
Wow.
vortex is also a corruption. It's not because the X doesn't belong in our alphabet. It would be actually more correctly like this, VORTECH, vortex. But correctly, it would be VOR text TAKHS, like that. Vortex. See, so I'm giving the more primitive Indo-Germanic. There is no C. Okay, we have to remove the letters that were not in the original because they're priesthood corruptions, and
Wow.
as best example in the Hebrew. But in our modern time through the Vatican. So vortex. So see that in the word ek, as you know, an X is like destruction. In ek, and if you put an A in front of it, you get the axe. So that cuts you off. But the vortex, the X, you can see is we find in the word eclectic, ek for knowledge. So what does vortex really mean? Not just the center, but the center of knowledge. See, because they had a bad code there, I missed the final part until I'm talking about it right now with you, Ninja. It means the center of knowledge. Knowledge.
Desert.
The X. Example. I just gave you an example. You
Thank you.
see? But not with an X. ECHS. Ample. AMPLE. Okay? That's how the game has been, mind controlling us. You see how I should have known that, but because I wasn't working with it and I just let it sit there with the X on it without defining it, I missed it. Okay? I
Okay.
missed it.
Can I tell you
So you
something that
failed
I
up.
saw in that?
All
And
right.
also say I don't know if this is right. I can't picture the word at the moment for some reason. E- e- exactly. um.
And and
Anyway.
I just want to say the vortex, you hear the word tack, it pins you right in the center. It points you in the center and pins you in the center. Go ahead.
You're talking about the X being in the center. X marks the spot. We have pirates with treasure maps with an X on their map marking where the treasure
Yeah,
is on their maps. Yeah, that's what I saw.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Well, even the Cairo, the symbol called the Cairo, is a P with an X in it, and what it means is the place. The P symbol, first symbol for the word place. The
They
place. Okay.
Oh, and they put an
Yeah.
X on the stage.
Right. Well, you see the Cairo, the X and the P on the Pope's robe, right? So, and on the behind him on the wall, and that what he's saying is this is the place. Okay, this is the center, right? The center place, the
Wow.
Cairo. Okay.
Wow.
All right. So I don't know
Sorry, I'm done. I'm
if
I'm all wowing now, so
okay,
please continue. Yeah.
good, because we need to get with Jabby now. Jabby, are you
Yep.
still with us? And I'm going to go ahead and see what Jabby had said here. She had a series of questions she had sent to me, and let me. I hope you're there, so we didn't lose you. But okay, I hope Desert will discuss the significance of the missing books and what evidence is there that these missing books removed by the Vatican are not fake books. Well, the only way to answer that is we have to become a scholar ourselves, because if we're not literate, if we're illiterate, then we would never be able to figure these things out for ourselves. But we have to see and read them for ourselves. I don't want nobody changing my words, or I don't want nobody ripping my books out of its entire library, because we had a library at one time, not just additional little letters, but we had a library of literature that belonged to our tradition. And because it is interesting that it was James Moffat who gave us the Bible, the Moffat translation, James Moffat translation of the Bible in like 1922, and around that time he did a lecture in England, and I have a copy of that lecture, actually read it, and he said something rather interesting in that lecture. He said, of all the religious traditions in the world who have writings, the religious traditions with their writings, that the Christian tradition with the New Testament is the smallest collection of literature of any religious tradition. Wow, what a mind blow. I mean, I kind of knew that intuitively, right? I knew something was wrong because I knew about all the other writings that they stole from us. But then what did we end up having? What was left with the 27 teeny weeny little books
Wow.
of
And
our
yet,
new, what we call New Testament, is
yeah,
we have a
yeah.
remnant, and it now becomes known as thank you, James Moffat, as the smallest collection of spiritual literature of any religious tradition.
And yet
You
that
see?
controls the, like, has overtaken, like, controls the world.
Well, the point is that if they remove your scriptures from you, you can't go home, and you're under mind
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
You see, and so
Yeah.
that's why all these other writings are key. Well, which ones did they take out? The key ones, the ones that we want to be reading. That they took away from us. So we have to be collecting. I've been collecting them all my life, and I've been reading them all my life, and I'm able to find those that are irrelevant or rabbinical, interpolations, or Vatican creations, like the Book of Paul and Thecla. Book of Paul and Thecla is purely a Vatican creation. So it is possible to to assess these once. You have to be connected, and the connection is to be made with the one who made all things, because the one who made all things is the one who reveals all things. So you go to him and say, Father, please show me through Yeshua my tree of knowledge, and help me out here. And he will lead you down the trail if you're willing to commit and surrender to his light, you see, because he doesn't just, give out the information. He lets people be stupid, like the Barbie that we have to deal with in Tucson, to think they're really important and they know everything and they know nothing, teaching false information, and also criticizing others, that criticizing a science she has no knowledge of,
Yeah. Steering
and
people
they're
away. Yeah.
yeah, because you see, it's easy to target a guy with a funny name and then on a spiritual metaphor, and then at the same time talking about a science that nobody else is talking about. It's easy. I'm an easy target, but that's okay, because the truth will be known, and the frauds out there will be known. The shills out there will be known, because they're the filth that comes out of her mouth is prima facie evidence that she has no connection, other than an agenda that is sounds and smells like the agenda of the Babylonian Talmud and world Zionist domination. Can you say Eastern Star Witch? I think so. Ninja. So let's go to the next question. Then I hope I answered that well enough, Jabby. Then we've got Enoch is real and referenced. Of course, Enoch is not the right word. It's Enoch. At least at a minimum, it's the E is an A, and it's Enoch, so it means the knowledge of the A. That's what we're talking about in ASHAVOR, the Royal Eye Center. The Enoch is the knowledge of the A. And you see, they took out the A from the words. Like, in other words, you hear us say A Shalom, not Shalom, but A Shalom. There's the word Asha again, the Royal Eye of what? Of peace. The Royal Eye of peace, but they took away the I. They took away the royal eye, and then that's how they abbreviate words. They take away key letters, and so you got this little abbreviated word, and you're so happy with it, you love it, and no, this is my word, and that's what Barbie was doing, also telling
Yes.
people we're wrong
Yes.
and telling the truth,
Telling
that the
people
word
that
is
it's
not shalom, it's
Shalom, not
a
Asha.
shalom.
Sorry.
It's a shalom, yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead and pick and pull apart. But the fact is, I'm foremost expert on the Indo-Germanic. I prove it out. I go to the dictionaries. and I've been reading from them. They're on the past programs, and so we are presenting the science that they stole from us. You see, and who the Aryan race is, because that's what it's all about. It was Adam who was the father of the Aryan race. That's why they say there's this big debate. Oh, we think the Aryans came from the east and went west, and the other one says, no, we think the Aryan came from the west and went east. But the truth is, they were right there in the middle, in what's called Mesopotamia today, formerly called Padam and Shinar. Okay, and that's where the Aryan race began, in that between the two rivers, and also in the Lake Gennesaret, which is the original word for Lake Galilee. Gennesaret. There's your Garden of the Nazarene. Nazarene was corrupted into Nazareth and Nazarene, because they didn't want us to know the original word Nazarene, that which was breathed into them, that came down through the pure line. The Nazarene, the nasal, what was breathed into the nostril, the gnosis. You see, all of these words relevant to following the trail back. And but there's people who want to throw stones because we're talking deep. You know, they don't like people talking deep. You know, they want you to just say, Jesus loves you. Yes, I know, for the Bible tells me so. And that's all I know. And that's all I want to know, because I'm already saved. And I don't have to know nothing else. You know, so being illiterate and think you're going somewhere. Okay. Don't be able to define anything and think that you're going to be a part of the grand, picture. Okay. It can't happen, because Yeshua is the tree of knowledge. And knowledge, what did it say? People perish, Ninja, for what? A lack of
knowledge. Does it? Sorry, I had to unmute.
People perish for lack of knowledge.
Lack of
where
knowledge.
You can have no vision, where you cannot read or get the symbol, the meaning of the picture, then you cannot transcend. Okay, so knowledge is foundation to transcendence, and he brought in the golden age of light, the golden age of enlightenment. Okay, so Javi says Enoch is real and referenced in the Bible, but some sections are exaggerated, which makes the book an exaggeration, as giants were not 4,300 feet tall. Well, of course not. I don't even know where that came from. That's another terrible misinterpretation. The largest giant on record that's been actually found as a skeleton is 36 feet, and that's quite a giant. But typically the giants were 8 and 12 feet on average, and then there were some bigger. Even in England, the stories are there. So Enoch, all of the translations, see, again, they control the words. Therefore, they control the translations. They control the books, the publishing. They control the narrative. They're controlling it all. So that's why we have to become scholars, and that's why we have to connect with the one who made all things, because we could never figure it out. I am not smart enough to figure this out. It has been revealed to me by my elder brother and the one who made all things, Yeshua. Okay. Because I climbed a mountain one day, went for a mountain experience. You want to show that picture, Ninja? Okay, climbed the tallest peak in the contiguous U.S., Mount Whitney, 14,500 feet, at age about 20, 21, 22, in that area. And I was looking for a vision, because I saw what this world had done to me, what my parents had done to me or didn't do for me, and therefore had to go on the long wilderness journey over the last 40 years of studying. But climbing the mountain was when my life was really transformed, and that's when the words opened up to me, and that's when I realized the truth, that it was about living free from sin, living pure. And unlike the 600 different flavors of Christianity, what I call Baskin Robbins, have your flavor, cotton candy or Rocky Road or pink polka dot or rainbow colors, whatever you want, you can have it your way. How fortunate you are, ladies and gentlemen. You can have it your way. But of course, the true tradition, when it says there's only one Lord, one faith, one baptism, therefore, since there is one, the one that we're talking about is the pure one, the one that has separated from the illusion, separated from the lies, and was willing to put on purity, pure thoughts, not a filthy mouth like Barbie, but a pure mouth, and to speak truth, because all things, and it is truth, and it is not a part of any lie, and therefore, even as it teaches you, you shall remain in it. Okay, so the truth is not a part of any lie. So if you're part of a tradition that's got all, it's a miracle that that this light is shining right now. It's a ray of light. It's a ray of light. And so while we have it, we've got to check it out, pay close attention, kick it around, write it down on a piece of paper, meditate upon it, ask the Father, is Desert crazy, Father, or is he actually saying something that actually is relevant truth and maybe has something to do with our eternal walk, that maybe we can be set free from the lies and the deceptions, maybe, and
I did.
so
I
that's
asked.
right.
Yeah.
And you've come a long way in a year, and you're actually upstarting me every now and then on some of these words, and you get it, something I didn't see. And now you're saying, look, I was looking at that, and there it is. And I'm saying, yeah, how come I didn't see that, And it's because you are being set free. You can see and read it for yourself. You're now meditating on the ASHAVORs all day long and realizing the grand scheme of how they tricked us, and also having fun unlocking the mysteries for yourself, because you can do it now. It's about knowing how to read. That's all it comes down to. What I'm trying to do here is to show people how to read, to tell them that they never learn how to read because they've been deceived. They've been deceived. So we got a lot of work to do, ladies and gentlemen, to play catch up on the grand deception, when our lives we may have less than 2 years left on the planet since they've destroyed our ozone layer, and we're being burned up by UVB and UVC radiation. So they didn't count on destroying their own world. In their arrogance, when they wanted to kill us and enslave us and control us, they actually destroyed their own world with the modern, technological, industrial revolution that occurred starting in the 1800s. They destroyed with petrochemicals and all the gases they created, when we could have free energy, right? Clean energy, free energy, free all, They wanted to control us, tax us, and enslave us. So they had to create the false matrix of phony creations and the grand metropolis, and in the process they killed our world. And now they're covering it up with aerosol spraying, because they got to keep the solar radiation out. So we're on a short clock now, ladies and gentlemen. So it's time to play catch up. And we hope you maybe come back and also tell your friends. After all, you wanted to know, right? If you find value in this presentation, then then do tell a friend. Okay. So we've got a third question now. I think I covered Enoch well enough to say that first and second Enoch in the pseudepigrapha are truly legitimate documents, and even some of the words of Noah are in there, and I was able to find them, particular segments. But the third Enoch in the pseudepigrapha is rabbinical. So third Enoch in the Old Testament pseudepigrapha, 2 volumes, about 60 or 70 books. In this collection, a whole library that they took away from us. The third Enoch is not valid. So it's possible to know, when you know the essence of the story. The essence of the story is, there is a structure to what is being presented in our scriptures. Okay, there is a beginning and an ending in the narrative, and so it's just simply knowing the narrative well, knowing how Yeshua works, and then therefore, and also the tricks that have been played on us by priesthood, like using the names when they're not names, like Jacob always being used when it should have been seed of light. You see, Jacob means seed of light. And so is it really referring to the guy with the name, or is it referring to a culture that is enlightened, seed of light? You see, or the same with the word John. They abbreviate it to John, 4 letters. When it's Yalganun meaning the garden at high noon. The garden, that's what he was bringing us back, the light, the atom, the sun, the Eden, the pure light coming down the garden at high noon, Yalganun. And they said that when Elijah comes back, then that's when we'll have the sign of the one who is to come. But it wasn't Elijah coming back. It was the eye of the enlightenment that was coming back. You see, they took it and changed a statement into, or a saying or an expression into a guy's name, and it wasn't about Elijah. When you see Elijah, what it said was, when you see the eye of enlightenment, the eye of enlightenment. You get it? Okay, because Yalganun was ushering in the age of enlightenment while he was closing the age of darkness. The last Levitical priest with his head cut off meaning the old world is cut off and Yeshua brings in the golden age of enlightenment. Even evangelion, the original word for gospel, meant the star message of enlightenment, and they didn't like that, so they changed it and put in the word gospel. Go spell if you think you can. You see? So the game is great. The game is great, and we've got to realize these tricks. And if we think we can figure it out ourselves, good luck, okay? Because I couldn't figure it out, but the Father is a revealer, okay? He's a revealer, and so I'm very grateful that he has, answered many of my light creations, my prayers. Okay, all the words are codes, and we talk about all the original thought in these words. Like prayer means the creation of light. It's in the letters. If you know the meaning of the letters, the prime parent root forms, you can read it for yourself. That's all we're doing, is showing you the science here. You can see and read it for yourself and go on your merry way. Because one day we're going to be cut off electronically. And so to hear these things and to get it under your belt now means that you'll be able to see and read the great mystery later on for yourself and not be fooled by the corruption. All scriptures are controlled. There's very few. And even the good people that are coming forward trying to give us translations are still lost in the code. They're lost in the matrix. They're lost in the maze of false narratives, false alphabets, false everything, you see? And so it's a part truth and a part lie. And you can't have a part lie with the truth. The truth is not a part of any lie. Okay, last question with Jabby here. And Jabby, hope you're still with us. Otherwise, you'll have to play it back, okay? And we're at the 91-minute mark, so take note of that. Or I'll let you know. I'll text you and let you know. Okay. So this is by the way, Jabby. If it's what I think it is, it's a lady that's been down a tough road, and I don't have her permission to state what that road is all about. But I know she's been toughing it out like many over the last few years, and living in situations that are not convenient. And lost most everything, like so many of us have. And so I appreciate her coming by. I've been telling her for over a year to come by. So finally, good to have you, Jabby. And so the question is there a Bible with all of the books? Why were they removed? We only have copies from 2nd century, as I have been told, but the original books may be of great or Greek origin and thus intact. Okay, so first question, is there a Bible with all the books? No, but there was one done in Montana recently called the Sefer, and it's a great work. It's absolutely a fantastic work done by this attorney, and so do a search for the Sefer, Cepher, and they say it means book in Hebrew, but it doesn't. It means code. Okay, it literally means code, and it's the suffix for Lucifer. Sefer is Lucifer, and Lucifer means the true code, and also the protective code. So it's their code. Lucifer is not some woman with boobs in a dress and flies around at night doing damage. It is an idea. It is a corporate body of priests and Freemasons that keep that beast alive. It's a system. It's a code system. It's a code of order, a code of a brotherhood. It's the codes of the words. It's a dress code. It's all the code of this, a code of that. And if you're not careful, they slit your throat. That's the code, right? In Freemasonry, the grand hailing sign, you walk, you collect $200 and don't go to jail. That's a nice one. Yeah, they didn't tell me that in school. But anyway, let's try the second. So that's a good translation. The best translations to get, though, Jabby, to get closest to the original, you'd have to get Farrar Fenton, who read nothing but Greek and Hebrew for 40 years, and then he did his English translation. That was in the 1800s. He published his book in 1905. So Farrar Fenton, and then George Lamsa from the 1930s, who came from Kurdistan, spoke 5 languages, grew up in the eastern region of Kurdistan, northern Iraq, spoke the pure Aramaic of Yeshua, and it hadn't changed in 2,000 years. And he gave us the Eastern text, but they corrupted it. They wouldn't publish his translation unless he let them re-edit it. And so they changed a lot of the words, made it closer to the King James, but still it has a lot of pure original thought in there. And so when you compare George Lamsa with Farrar Fenton, you get closer to the original by comparing them than you can any other way. Okay, unless you studied, the other languages, of course. We have to know the game that has been played on us, ladies and gentlemen, the tricks that have been played, because um, you know what, the reason they say something's rotten in Denmark, because the Jesuits run Denmark, okay, and there's something rotten in our world when they control all of our information and control publishing. And so that's the beast system. It said they deceive the entire world. Okay, what part of the entire world don't we get? Okay, so almost done here. Why were they removed? Okay, they're removed because they want to keep us earthbound. We've talked about this on our broadcast before, that the ancient Vekoresh, falsely called watchers, we find them as vicars today in the Vatican, aka cardinals, because the cards spin on the nail. They're the power brokers. They are looking out for the one world unseen hand, because there's an unseen hand running our world, the original lineage of the Watchers, and the front offices, the Vatican. It used to be Babylon, it used to be Meitzar, falsely called Egypt. They're networked pretty well. And so their whole intention was to keep us earthbound, to deny us access to the truth about who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are, and who they are. But if you go to the cosmic essence, we've already defined in plain English who the Watchers are, 5 parts, and then also who Adam is, the father of the Aryan race, and that this is what the big lie is all about. Okay, what you have to go check out the Cosmic Essence, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and Ninja's doing a great job cutting them from our longer broadcast and putting the slices in there, so you don't have to listen to hours of broadcasting and go right to the issue. Okay, so that's what we're doing, and we define the flood like nobody else has. I'm blown away that the Heavenly Father, I feel very much akin to Ron Wyatt, but he could afford to go to these places and discovered, many great things. But the one thing he didn't discover, and that we bring forth, is the true flood, the great flood. And so that's one thing that nobody else is talking about, but we nail it to the wall, okay, by the ancient mythology, by the geophysical sciences, the geology, the words, of course, what Mediterranean Sea literally means, with the sea in the middle of the land, and then also using our scriptures for confirmations as well. So it's not one thing, and it's an event that happens periodically. David Attenborough actually came forward.
Yeah, it's reconnecting.
Okay, it's reconnecting again.
Yeah.
So okay, so. All right, there we go. So the Africa and Europe bump apart, and they took away that video, that one documentary that David Attenborough did about the Mediterranean Sea, how within 30,000 years it evaporated. This is what not being talked about, and but we talk about it right here. We've got it. Okay, we're putting it on the table. What you do with it's your business. I don't care, if you follow it or you don't want to follow it, but I think some people deserve to hear something more than apples and oranges. We need to hear plums, peaches, and tangerines and grapes, and then maybe make a decision about who's telling what and what's what. We've got to be free thinkers, certainly. And so continuing here, we only have copies from the 2nd century. Well, we hardly have any copies from the 2nd century, Jabby. Actually, most of the Aramaic copies, like the Khaboris manuscript, come from the period of around 400 AD, but most of the Greek manuscripts are like 200 years later and then on. So most of the Greek manuscripts are from the period of 600 or later AD. Okay, Aramaic is dominant, and it also the one thing that the Aramaic proves out is that all of their traditional writings that are left, even though they changed the alphabet, all agree. They all agree, whereas all the different Greek manuscripts, many of them disagree. And the reason is because they had different translators translating it from the Aramaic, and they weren't expert in Aramaic. And so that's why you have many variables within the Greek copies that are left to us, okay? So continuing here. Okay, we only have copies from the 2nd century, and have been told, but the original books may be of Greek origin and thus intact. Question. Well, there are no originals. First of all, there are no originals, and what we have are copies, and very often copies of copies. And we're removed from the Aramaic. We want to go back to the Aramaic, not Greek, not Hebrew. Aramaic is first, in Aramaic is the Indo-Germanic mother tongue used in the capital letters we find on our driver's license, even though they've been corrupted, or changed. Let me put it that way. But also corrupted by getting new letters like the J and the X and the Q and the C. All these letters don't belong, and so it's been a great switch out that has occurred. So I hope I answered your questions, Jabby. And okay, and let me see. I'm scrolling back down. Okay, and where do we go here? Okay, at the bottom. And you said yes, you're still here. Okay, great. So you got it. Glad to have you, and glad I could get that out for you. All right. We're gonna, and you're welcome. Thank you. So Ninja, let's go to a break. Okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where we're gonna go when we get back, but maybe we'll do symbols. Do you have that picture of the chimera?
Yeah, and I also have questions.
All right. Well, I think we should go to chimera next. We can go to your questions next, and then chimera, because we're talking about, the Indo-Germanic and the ASHAVORs, and so we'll show with the chimera how when you go spell it backwards, you get the word Aramaic. It's in our face. So we'll do a dissertation on the chimera when we get back. Okay. So you ain't seen nothing yet, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So just stand by for the broadcast. You're tuned in right here to the Forbidden History Chronicles. What they didn't want you to know, and Barbie didn't want you to know either, but we tell
right here.
Somebody's got to do it, right, Ninja? All right, we'll be right back.
Okay, we'll be right back as soon as I find some music. Okay. Yeah, sorry about the music. Hang on, hang on. Okay, welcome back to the Forbidden History Chronicles. Thank you for waiting. That was that was a bit of a lengthy break. Yeah. Welcome back, Desert. I'd like to welcome any new listeners, but welcome back, Desert. You're on. You. Can I say you're on fire? You're on fire tonight, this morning, wherever you are.
You can say that, Ninja. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. And well, that's what Yeshua said, that he would try the world with fire, and I think we got the fire. I had to get that air conditioner on, but our world is burning up, and people out there, don't get it, and they're literally being cooked in a microwave, and they're out there. I feel so sorry for the
Yeah.
people working construction today. It's really tragic, but they're being destroyed. Their bodies are being destroyed slowly in a microwave. We have to do everything now to protect our family, our little ones. And of course nobody's talking about it other than grassroots mediums. So here we are. We share that information. You got it. The links on the description for Dane Wigington and Linda Tavares, or we got them on our featured channels. And Mr. MBB 333 or The Higher Truth Rises. All of these channels offer solutions to our dilemma that we're in today, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Ways to cope, ways to get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And while we're talking, just so everyone knows, this is a picture of it's called, mispronounced as chimera, but it is the K mirror. The K mirror. It's a reflection of something, and also the word camera is synonymous with this term. Camera is chimera. Okay, and so we'll talk about that after we cover a little bit of ground with Ninja here. Okay, so check that out. You'll find it in Revelations. Oh, geez, we ought to at least give them the scripture so they can compare it. Ninja, let me go. It's Revelations 13. Unless you can go to the website, Ninja, I don't know if you can do that, but let me see here.
Scripture, Shultre, is that how you say it?
Shultre are
Shultre.
scriptures, right? The sutures that tie everything together.
Okay, if I don't want to slow anything down on the computer.
No, that's okay. I got it. I found it.
Okay.
It's in Revelations chapter 13, and its starts in verse 2. Well, you can read verse 1, but it's then described in verse 2. The only thing, it's not the feet of a bear, it's the feet of a dog, and the dogs are the priests. They do the running of their master. So that's where you'll find it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so Ninja, back to you.
Okay. What do you want me to do? My questions or
Yeah,
observations?
yeah. You were gonna take us on
Okay.
two issues, I think,
And
right?
I also have some other stuff. That's a great word for this program.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Stuff
some.
with a
I
PH.
also have some other. I'll remember that. I also have some other stuff for later on, or yeah, whenever. Um, but I
Hmm.
do want to talk about Elijah. How do you pronounce that properly first? Does it?
Well, it's Uleyal. Ule. Okay, so let me type it in there. It's a better way to
Ole,
do it.
ole,
Uh,
ole. See,
e. Hold on. E-L-I. How do you spell Elijah?
E L
Elijah.
I J A H.
Yeah, which becomes U O L uh, L. How am I doing this? Well, I should have used capital letters. Let me try this again. Hold on. Elijah. Okay, and then Oolay. Um, Yahll. This is the more expressive. In other words, you don't have to have two Y's. You can have one Y. In other words, it could be spelled Oolayahl like this. You know, Ulayal, but it's Ulayal, so it means the eye of enlightenment that goes round. The
Uleyal.
ay is I, right? But OOL is enlightened.
Yeah, the first one makes it easier when you're looking at it. It makes it easier to pronounce because now that I'm seeing it, I can say Uleyal, and I couldn't
Yeah.
say it before.
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
Ul is the owl that sees in the dark. So he's enlightened. That's why they call him a wise owl. You see, and so the priesthoods, like if you wear a hood, the reason, as we read in the Book of Symbolism, if you're wearing a hood, is because you don't want no one knowing who you are. You're undercover, and so but the hood, as we see HOOD, is also, as you know, that the code is HOOT. The T and the D do business for each other. You see, so the priesthoods are also the priest hoots. They're the priest owls, right? And goddess, Goddess, no, one D, right? Goddess, ESS. Is it two D's? Goddess, Godd, is it, or God?
yes. I'm gonna go with yes.
Two D's?
Two D's.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't look right.
I
I'm
don't know.
gonna
I'm
say
gonna
Goddess,
Google it.
ESS. Okay, and it's really though uh, the God dress. Okay, goddess is God dress. Okay, you can see it. We go, why? It's a
Yeah, it's
female,
two
right? We know.
D's. Two D's and two
Okay,
S's.
so Godde. And see, they totally screwed up our minds with school.
Yeah.
We can't spell because nothing sounds correct. Nothing's true. Nothing's correct. It's all incomplete. It's misleading. It's abbreviated. It's
Yep.
corrupted. We got all of these problems. Hey, thank you for stopping by, Raymond. Good to have you, and be safe out there. Okay, it's a tough world, and we gotta make lemonade out of lemons. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out the challenges with the code. See, we're dealing now. It makes sense. Oh yeah, goddess would be God dress, and now who's wearing the dresses? The Freemasons, the priesthoods,
Yeah.
right? They're wearing robes. Oh, and Islam wearing the dress. You see, these are the priesthoods. They're the hidden woman. It's called the hidden woman, and
Yep.
that's how the game is played. Hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Um,
Yeah.
and can I ask before I go into what I saw in the Elijah video? Um, can I just ask who is he? Who
Who
is
is
he?
Elijah? Who is
Yeah.
Elijah? Well,
Yeah.
the false narrative is the word prophet, but the original word is in Star Navigator. The first Star Navigator was Adam. So that's where the word prophet comes from, Star Navigator. Navigator is the more original for the Indo-Germanic, and so it means one who knows the way back home, does navigate by the stars,
But
knows the
like
light.
in the stories, like, because I saw somewhere that um, he was John. Um, I want to try
Well,
and get
no,
the
there's
pronunciations right.
there's
Yalganoon, is that John?
right. The illusion that they're creating is that John is somehow a reincarnation of, Elijah, but it's not.
Okay, okay,
The it's not stated as a fact.
okay.
It's
I'm just trying to
when
get the
you
order
see
right of
when
like
you
the
right it
timelines.
right because it's in the word. In other words, what did John represent? He represented his correct name is Yalganun. What did he
Yalganoon, yeah,
represent? He represented the Enlightenment. He represents the Enlightenment. So that's the Elijah that, so when it says, when you see the enlightenment that goes round, well, there's the story. There's a correct version. The enlightenment that goes round, and it will be found in the Yalganun. Remember that it was Elizabeth who was barren, and she did
yeah,
couldn't bring forth a baby. And Zechariah,
yep,
his wife, finally gets pregnant. He gets the
yep,
vision in the temple, and then so what was the deal? He's told what name to give him, and when they were going to name the baby, they said, well, we were going to name him Zechariah, and then the mother says, no, his name won't be Zechariah, and then they gave him the name on a tablet, and they said, well, there's nobody in your family with this name, you see, and then he said, but that's going to be the name, and then boom, he can now talk and hear again. He's no longer mute, and so you see, so it was a royal title, and the royal title is Yal Ganun, means the the enlightenment of the sun at high noon that goes round. That's the apex, right? Noon is the apex of enlightenment in the symbolism. Okay, so that's what it's talking about. So that's what Yalganun represented, because he was an orator just like Yeshua. They said that he was exactly like Yeshua. The only difference is he could do no miracles, and
okay,
so that's the difference. So it's they control the narrative. They change the meaning of the words by changing the words or making them into names when they're not names. Just like Michael is the one who is like Yah. In Jude, it says, and then I saw Michael and 10,000 of his angels or whatever. And but yet Michael means the one who is like Yah. Well, who is like Yah? Yahweh. Yahweh. Who is Yeshua? Is like
yeah,
the one who is like Yahweh. The archangel is the Arch Malik, the royal messenger at the top. And who is the royal messenger at the top? Yeshua. So you see how they trick us with these words?
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
Michael, it's the one who is like Yah. And they don't want us to get that picture,
yeah,
you see. And this is a game that's been played in the books of Enoch, as I was alluding to, and all of our other writings. All of them have these problems.
yeah,
And
and
unless
that,
you are
yeah.
enlightened, you can't get it.
That's where I see. That's where I get confused because I'm not even that familiar with the false narrative. Um, Learning the truth from you, I can I can see it now with the ASHAVORs, and I can see uh, the like the repeating messages within the stories, but the order of the stories and the names, that, yeah, because of what you just said, everything's just been so mixed up and flipped upside down. Yeah, it just amazes me that uh, anyone gets it. So thank you, Desert. I just want to say thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. um,
Well,
yeah,
what happens is when you learn something, you want to share it. After
yeah,
when you're down a rabbit hole, like what appears to be further than anybody else, you want to share it with somebody. And then
yeah,
and for the longest time, there was nobody to share it with, other than, my family at the time. Of course, my first wife was not really on the journey. She was not honest about that, and therefore, it took a long time to finally figure that out. But in the process, of course, I was learning,
yeah,
and I was on the journey, and therefore, so there was just a change of course in the family orientation. But I've never not been on the journey. There are times when when you're alone and you're starving for finding others that actually can relate to the truth of what you've been learning. It appears that it takes a lifetime because for the first time in all my broadcasting over the last year is when I now have found people that actually are getting it. Because prior to that, I was not ready to fully present it correctly. I was still learning, so it took 40 years of coming out of a literal wilderness when I'm 63 years old, but I was 40 years in the wilderness of this learning since I climbed a mountain at age just shy of 22, and that's the number of perfection, of maturity, and therefore for over 40 years now, I just come out of this wilderness, and now I can really define these things in a profound way that it makes you an easy target, because they want just the King James version, soft version. Jesus loves you. Yes, I know. For the Bible tells me so. But don't tell me anything else. I don't want to know anything. Just give me the fiction, okay? And so they're going to say bless you, which means blast you, and righteousness, which is a non-word. Where does that word go? You don't use that at work. You don't go to work and say, hey, right, boss, this is a righteous product we're making here, isn't it? Yeah, it's righteous. No, it's because it's a code. It's a code because it means the perfection of light. That's why they had to change it, just like they changed Michael, a perfection of light. Righteousness, the perfection of light. Right. What's on the right? The light. Change the R to the L, because that's how they played the tricks with us. You see, the two prime codes, the obelisk of the L and the R for royal. That's why alien is Aryan. Change the L to an R. Alien is Aryan. They do this with many words. And so, as it said, they deceive the entire world. Well, what part of the entire world don't we get? That we've all been deceived, and we have to come out of it. Come out of Babylon, we're told. Come out of the voodoo and the hoodoo.
The hoodoo.
And what you gonna do about it, Ninja? What are you gonna do?
Can I tell you what I saw now? The three
Sure.
things. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, because the first time I watched it, we're talking about the story of Elijah. I'll have to put the link in the description. It's just a 10-minute video, and it's a beautiful little video. The first time I watched it, as you know, I watched it with emotion, so it affected me emotionally. So that's how I interpreted it.
Wait a minute. What video are you talking about? Um,
The story of Elijah.
was that the one I sent you, or this one that
Yeah,
you sent me?
the one you
Okay.
sent me.
Okay,
Um,
gotcha. Go ahead.
yeah, and I told you my interpretation, and I had to watch it again without emotion um, to
Hmm.
get what it was saying, to get to
Yeah.
see, yeah. Um, so anyway, there was three things that I noticed. Uh, like I said before, I can see uh, the message, like the truth, being repeated in all the stories throughout time and in all the cultures throughout
Uh-huh.
the world and throughout history. Um, I can see that. Anyway, the first one I saw was Breaking Bread, um, and my question there uh, is in the false narrative. Is the first time breaking bread, is that around the time of Yeshua, and yet I see it in the story of Elijah. Do you yeah, that's my question.
Okay, rephrase the question again. I'm not sure I got
I
it.
don't know how to phrase it.
All right. Are you saying is that an example of when we first break bread with Yeshua? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. Like the
Uh,
interpretation is the first example of breaking bread is with Yeshua, but here it is in the story of Elijah. They're breaking bread together.
right. Okay, but it's there is an allusion to it because it's relative, but the main hold on here. Um, the main meaning of this. Okay, first of all, the widow
Yeah.
with the son
Yeah, I still have two
is
others to say,
yeah
but yeah,
is
please continue.
not the tribe of Israel. Okay, she's a foreigner,
Yeah.
and so the star navigator of Israel, Israel, is is going is sent to a woman who's a widow. The widow represents Israel. So she being a widow represents Israel, even though she's not Israel.
Yeah.
Uh, and um, and so he so she, her so the drought is on, and the drought is a 3-year drought, and three is very symbolic as to the three ages of the Aryan race: the age before the flood, the age after the flood, and then the age Yeshua ushered in, the golden age of light. So uh, so what happens is the everything's drying up, and so she's got the last handful of flour and the last bit of oil in a bottle. But we have to remember the symbols, and the oil represents truth, and water represents truth. And so the fact that there's no rain coming down means that there's no oil because there's no produce, and so and there's no commerce. All everything broke down. But the fact, so it represents that there's no truth, and so the fact that her oil is run out of the jar is there's no truth, and so the people that's what isn't that what happened to Israel? Instead of following the one who delivered them from Meitzar, and did all those great miracles, instead they chose to go after Baal. They went after pagan traditions, and because it was more fun, it was better, a cooler deal, so less restrictive and all those things. So they went after the false traditions, and so they had no truth, and so they became a widow, meaning they divorced themselves from their husband, the father of light, and but in spite of all of that, in spite of that, there was no truth anywhere, right? No truth anywhere. Israel ultimately is banished into exile forever in 730 BC, and then finally Judah in circa 500 BC is then finally sent to Babylon. They're all gone, okay, and it's because they had no truth, and they went into falsehood, and so there was no truth, and so but in spite of that, when Elisha, what does it mean? The enlightenment that goes round
Yeah.
came to the widow who had a son. The son is a son is a son is a son. An sun is an son. Son is a son. Sun. You see, they're the same word. And so she has a son. The widow has a son that represents the logo, represents Yeshua up in the light, right? They divorced themselves from the one who made all things, and therefore the virgin light now is the widow. But in spite of that, so what happens? He goes to a foreigner, not to Israel, but to a foreigner, and says, your oil will not run out. And so he says, feed me, and I will feed you. You see? And so she's serving him, the star navigator, and in the turn, because she, as remember the old axiom, you give to a star navigator a glass of water, you will receive a star navigator's reward. Because of that,
Yeah.
she then goes into her jar, and it never runs out of oil, and the flour never runs out. So that represents the truth, because in spite of the fact that it appears that there is no truth in this world, that the entire world has been deceived, yet the truth remains, and we are spilling the beans right here on the broadcast that nobody seems to get, except for a very few. Except for a
Well,
very few.
Desert, that's
They love the lies. They love the lies, Ninja. They
that
love the
was
lies.
a beautiful interpretation. I did not see all of that. Thank you. I did see. I wrote up. Sorry, it's getting really late. I wrote down giving up the desires of the flesh, dying to this world. Um, regarding no food, like um,
Mhm.
that's a flesh thing. You need food to keep your body alive, and she gave that up, and in return, she didn't have to worry. She didn't have to worry about being hungry because it was there for her anyway as a reward. Does that make sense?
Well, you're right, but the hunger is for truth. You see, the hunger is a metaphor
Yeah, yeah,
for being hungry for truth.
yeah.
So that's all. It just shows that the truth will not fail. The truth will not fail. She gave to the Star Navigator, and she received a Star Navigator's reward. That is the oil of truth, and and the grain is the bread. The bread, and the bread, yes, the bread does represent Yeshua. You see, the bread, who he is the bread of life. But it's really the correct word is matzah, metzar, meaning a star. I am the star. I am the star of creation. I am the bread of life. You see, there's more to it when you go back to the original words. And so yeah, so that's what that represented. And he was there in the jar, And so there you go. And we're going to hold on Chimera, okay? Because I've been really, at it for 3 hours now, at least. We were supposed to start at 11. So I want to finish with what you've got, Ninja, and then we're going to wrap it up, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go to the cave art because that won't be very long anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I was hoping Lynn would be here for this, but she can watch it back. Um,
Right.
okay. Thanks to yeah, I want to say thanks to Lynn Janier for sharing this with me, and I'm just looking for the graphic. I'll put the link in the description to the YouTube video that this came from. I can't even remember the name of the channel. Um, Sorry, I'm just going to have a look for the name of the channel so I can at least say that on the live stream and give them credit. Anyway, Lingineer brought this to my attention, um, and 1 second, I just want to find her words because she can explain it better. Um, okay, so all credit goes to Lingineer. On the last live stream, on the last Forbidden History Chronicles, I brought up an Aboriginal word, and we spoke of, for those who didn't listen to the last one, we spoke of the corruption with the word, the politically correct word to say here is Indigenous, not Aboriginal. And Desert, you explained why it should be the opposite. Like with Aboriginal, said
Well,
original, and
right. The word
yeah,
you only need the word original because ab means the first, and so you got two words saying the same thing.
yeah,
Aboriginal means first, original. So original means first.
yeah,
So that's how they've convoluted our words. They just start modifying them, or they're engineering them. We don't know sometimes, but indigenous, as we see the word India in there,
yeah,
also as a negative terminology that really means people without a god,
yeah, yeah,
because that's how they arranged it. In other words, they create false gods. So if you follow false gods, then you don't, to use their terms, have a god because you're following false ones. So Elohim is the correct term for that. Elohim meaning an enlightened one. So yeah, that's how they
yeah.
convolute. AB is AV, so you could say star originals. Star original could also,
Wow.
because as the Aryan race are the sky gods, the sun gods, the seed of light, so all those terms we could call them star gods, but it's Elohim from the sun. So God is a false narrative. We got just so many words that are controlling our narrative and destroying the original thought. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah. Um, okay. I will say I will say the words that Lynn said. Yeah. She sent me this picture, and she said it looks like Blood Clot Boy, which is Adam, had blood clot girl come out of his side. They gave seed to a white race and also a red one. Um, I can see that down in the bottom left-hand corner of the picture, coming out of his side down there. Um, yeah, so Desert. um,
Well, yeah, it's hard to say. I
yeah,
can't define these. These are stick figures, so they're
yeah,
not very natural. But no doubt they represent people,
yeah,
and it's a very creative way, artistically, in their culture to draw. Maybe it's obviously easier to draw sticks than a big body. So
yeah,
obviously, you can see how many fit in there too. I see a skeleton. There's a skeleton with his head tilted back to his left, with his face looking up. You see that one with his hands, skeleton hands, right in the middle to the left a little bit. There's just this rib cage and all that. So there's a definite skeletal structure there. You know.
yeah. Their style is that's the Aboriginal style of art. They always use the stick figures. I'm not an
Yeah.
expert, but that's just from what I've seen. As
Mhm.
this has made me realise that it's probably a good idea to look more into the Australian history. I've been looking everywhere else in the world,
Right.
yeah, and haven't been looking in my own backyard.
Those are a group of people that got the shaft, because
Yeah,
they're smaller and they're primitive. So yeah, the modern culture, just like it did
yeah,
to Native Americans, beat them all up, and now they're on reservations and living in poverty, and
yeah,
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 it's
and
nothing new.
their
Nothing new.
stories are similar. Like with the Dreamtime, that I can see a connection there with the Aryans, like the misinterpretation that the aliens came down and all that sort of thing with the
Hmm.
Aboriginal stories. Like it's just yeah, it's similar. Also, there's this one which is very interesting. Um, Sorry, I'm multitasking. I'm still trying to find the name of the channel. Um, yeah, I saw this on the video, and yeah, wow. Uh, like the art there with the boats and the ships. But what I saw was the wiggly thing at the bottom of the picture under the boats. Yeah, this is just a bit of a funny observation. That's all. I immediately saw a similarity with that, the SpaceX launch. It's a similar shape. So, and yeah, um, I don't know what to say there. I see. My question is it possible that they're drawing the ancient technology? I'm just putting it out there. No theories, just putting it out there. So, yeah, back to you, Desert. Oh, hang
Okay.
on.
Well.
Sorry.
Mhm.
I just found the channel. The
All
Lost
right.
History channel. Yeah, I'll put the link in the description.
Okay.
Yeah, back to you.
Yeah. It would be pure speculation on what that thing at the bottom is. They
Yeah,
did an
yeah,
accurate drawing of those boats. It's amazing. So
yeah,
I think it's possibly some sky phenomena, but we'll
yeah,
never really know. What that is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So.
It just looks
Mhm.
similar. That's all.
All
But
right.
yeah, that's all I that's all I had.
I see a woman's breast on the bottom right over there in that corner. Right above it is a kangaroo's rear end with the tail.
Yeah, I see
So you
that.
can you can you can really, I saw, as I said, I see Picasso in there actually, as well on the top left. So it's a conglomeration, but the ancients were communicating. They were recording what they were viewing, and if we could only be there,
Yeah,
to know
yeah,
what they were seeing. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. And these would have been like all the pictures would have been like uh drawn at different times, like overlapping. I can see that. Like there's old ones and there's more recent ones, and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that's true. Those boats,
yeah,
well,
drawn
most
at
likely
different
it still was
times.
it was most likely still the originals writing it.
Yeah,
But yeah, from a different period. That's right. So we don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
what periods the other one came from.
yeah, because
Okay,
it would have been different generations living in the same area.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so that was
Okay.
that was that.
All right. Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you
On
go because
Okay.
I'm out ready for lunch, and but I appreciate you doing the presentation for us and letting us get this information out, Ninja. Okay. So
Okay.
Desert Owl telling you, don't forget, if you want to know the future, then just look for the Forbidden History because it's all right here, coming your way every Monday and every Friday. When, Ninja?
1 no 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, US 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Aussie time on Mondays and Fridays.
Okay, and it's
Yeah,
what they didn't want you to know.
that we tell
That
right here.
Thank you, Ninja, and want to wish you and everybody out there all the best. And we'll look for you on Friday. Okay, if we don't talk sooner. Peace and love.
Okay, peace and love to you. Thank you, Desert.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya. Okay, just want to. Thanks, Fix It. Yeah. Sorry, I'm really tired and it was really hard to explain. Really hard to explain. Um, but yeah, thanks guys for hanging in there. And remember, you heard it here first. And be safe out there. Love, I love you guys. I'm just looking for some music as usual. Okay, and we'll see you next time. Okay, be safe.